Well, I am so happy today. I have Christine Jackson with me. She is a nutrition and fitness coach, and her focus is on helping busy moms. She is a mom herself. She has a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. So she is living what she's coaching. And welcome, Christine.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Patrice, for having me on. I am very excited to have a little chat.
Yeah. Tell me about what you're doing. I love you're helping moms and make it so that it can fit seamlessly into their lifestyle. Like it's not about, you know, I was noticing how some people they talk about, well, if you want to go on a diet or something, you've got to count calories and you got to
Yeah.
do all this tracking and I think you take a more holistic view on what health is even and how to optimize your health.
100%. As soon as you brought up the D word, diet, I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
diets don't work. Change healthy habits work because they are sustainable and you can do it long term, whereas diets are kind of like a short-term fix. I mean, you've never met a person who's been on a diet their entire life. And if they have, they're probably very miserable and you don't want to know that person anyway. Yeah, so I am all about incorporating mindful eating in a way that you don't have to track your calories. It's all about getting back into tune with your body, relearning your natural hunger and fullness cues with all of the pressures that we have from outside with magazines or the internet, social media, pushing all these weight loss programs and diets that this celebrity tried, so you need to try it, or this exercise plan that this celebrity does for an hour a day, and you need to do it too. It's too much. It's too time consuming. Like as a busy mom, I know I don't have time
Yeah.
to sit there on my app count, putting in everything I've eaten. I don't have time to go to the gym for hours at a time. But there are definitely ways that I know a lot of moms want to learn to eat better, maybe lose a bit of weight sometimes is their goal, but to have more energy.
Yeah.
And really easy to do when we start tackling slowing down when we're eating or why we're having cravings when the kids go to bed and you're eating all their snacks. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not counting necessarily the calories that we're eating, but it's taking a step back approach and figuring out why we're eating and how we're eating.
Yeah, I like that being mindful of what we're putting into our mouths and body and as you say, the why behind it. Is it for comfort food? Is it uh stress that you're trying to address and like I could you tell me too for your outlook, like you like to take a more holistic approach to it. So how would you uh, say measure that you're healthy or say that you are what's your idea of a healthy lifestyle?
Healthy lifestyle is moving in ways that make you feel good, in ways that you enjoy, in ways that can get you even outside, back into nature. There's so many. The healthy person isn't just about physical health, but it's also about their mental health and social health, existential health, spiritual health. There are so many aspects to a healthy person. But on my main focus with nutrition and fitness is if you're eating well, you're feeling good. You're feeling energized. You don't feel like you're going to crash and burn right after dinner or that making meals becomes a struggle because you're just so tired that you have time to sit down with your partner after the kids are going to bed and have some time together, not just saying, I need to go to bed or I need to just lie on the couch and mindlessly scroll my phone. And it's having the energy to play with your kids and engage with them. It's
And
there's that
like
this
you want your kids too to, you know, eat healthily, and so it's what you're presenting to them too, so that they can pick up healthy food habits, eh?
oh 100%. I mean, it's kind of but definitely a practice what you preach. I mean, you can tell a kid till you're blue in the face what to do, but they'll just tune you out. It's like, go clean your room. I've told you to clean your room. Why haven't you cleaned your room? Clean your room. But if you're showing them how to eat and you're role modeling that, then they will learn those healthy habits through you, watching you actually do it. Um, and yeah,
Kids,
you can tell them till you're blue in the face, but if you're showing them that this is how you live a healthy life, then that is what they are going to see, and that's what they're going to internalize, and that's what they become.
yeah, kids live what they see.
They
And
definitely do. They definitely do.
be careful, be warned, parents. You pick up on all sorts of things.
Oh, they
Also
sure
make it
do.
healthy habits, eh?
Exactly. And if they see you there sitting on your phone scrolling the internet, it's like, well, you're doing it, so that must mean it's okay. So I'm going to do it too.
Yeah.
Whereas rather, if you're sitting down on the couch and reading a book, they're going to say, hey, it's okay to take a rest break, but I'm going to read. I'm going to engage my brain. I'm going to learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. And that same with the movement, how many times parents will, you know, let the kids just play on their device. They want some time or whatever. But, if you can engage in some projects together, if you've got your energy up, and then, go out for a walk instead of spending more time on the screen, or go out and check out your neighborhood to find little bits of wilderness. Or I love, foraging, and so even urban foraging, see what plants are out there.
I used to do that when my kids were in preschool or even before preschool. We would go for walks around the block, collect leaves or sticks or rocks or whatever. And then we'd come home and we'd glue them onto a piece of canvas or paper and make collages of what we saw in nature or scavenger hunts. If kids are into scavenger hunts, you can take them around. Yeah, otherwise, I know little kids will be like, I'm bored. We have no destination. But if you make it fun, it's, oh, we're going out, we're doing this activity, we're on a hunt for something, and it becomes a fun activity rather than a chore of just we're walking around the block just to walk around the block.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and then they're getting that movement, and they're not just sitting in front of their devices. And if, as I say, it seems like you're kind of doing nature-based projects there, seeing what's around you, and
well, exactly.
exploring.
Exactly. And it's so much fun. And just to give a little story here. So I used to do this with my 9-year-old. We'd go and we'd do these collages. And in the evenings, I'd been going on walks by myself after dinner and everything was tidied up. I'm like, I'm just going to go for like a 20-minute walk around the block. I liked it. It helped refresh me after dinner and it felt good to get outside. And recently, in the last few months, my 9-year-old has said, can I come with you? And
Nice.
so now she asks me in the evenings, even when it's really cold, Mom, are we going for our walk? Because she knows too, she has my undivided attention to talk about how she's doing, how the day's been, what she's been thinking, and she loves it.
Yeah.
She's found a connection that we have together, but that we can also get out and move our bodies, and she enjoys it. It's not a chore, it's just something that we do.
That thing about finding things like moving in ways that you enjoy, like that is quite a different approach really too, instead of, pushing weights, or, on your treadmill or something. Like,
It's
want to go into that a little bit more?
sure. I feel like exercise has become so regimented. It's you go to the gym, you have to get a sweat on, you need to not be able to walk the next day because you're so sore. But the chances of you actually sticking with something like that, if you don't enjoy it, is very low. I mean, you might start out strong and being like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. But if you're not enjoying it, it becomes a chore and you don't want to go. You find it's easier to find excuses not to go. But if it's something that you actually enjoy, like if you enjoy team sports and you're like, okay, I'm going to join a soccer team, and it becomes exercise and movement, but you enjoy the social aspect as well. And the motivation that comes from being part of a team. And if that's something you enjoy, that's something you're going to keep up with and keep doing. If you enjoy going for walks around the block and seeing what's new, you feel good, you feel energized afterwards, even if it's 10 or 20 minutes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Those are, pardon the pun, steps in the right direction.
Yeah.
Or bike rides. There are so many ways to move our bodies that don't require a gym membership or getting super sweaty if we don't like that. There are so many other ways, and it's just experimenting to see what you like.
And get your kids to join in.
A
Get,
100%.
if I always like for me, I live right in the forest, so it's easy for me to go out and enjoy nature. But if I'm feeling a little stressed or overwhelmed, I can just go out for a walk in nature and I'm fine. I just all kind of falls away. And it's kind of like making those routines so that it's not just when you're stressed or anything, but you're making it a habit that okay, let's go out for a nature walk. Let's go um, put on some music and dance around even.
Yeah.
You
Kitchen
know,
dance parties are always fantastic.
and talking of kitchen, so you're into a nutrition coach.
Yes.
So tell us about around the kitchen and meal planning and how to, as a busy mom, ensure that you're getting that proper nutrition and you're still some enjoyment in there.
All right. I love this. I love helping moms with their nutrition because I find every time I talk to them, it feels like everything is on them. The meal planning, the groceries, the cooking, figuring out what the kids are going to have for lunch, packing lunches. It's a lot. I find the moms are like, it's on me. It's all on me. And I ask them why. Why is it on you? What happens if you sat down with your family on whatever night, whatever time works for you when you're all there, you can all sit together and you can make the meal plan together. Everybody can choose meals that they enjoy. You can add them to the meal plan. Then you can figure out the grocery list. If the kids like, I do grocery pickups, so my kids like to go on the app and add the items to the cart. But even taking a grocery store trip with the kids to see, oh, is there a new vegetable you'd like to try this week? Or is there a fruit that you've seen that you want to try? And also getting them involved in the kitchen, having them do kid age appropriate tasks for the kids. So that starts to alleviate all of this burden that the moms feel like it's all on them. So if you can get your kids, making a salad. My 6-year-old makes salad now. It took her a while to get there and it takes time and it takes patience, but teaching kids how to help out in the kitchen, eventually it pays off in dividends for your time because they can start to help. And then teaching them what a balanced meal looks like, what a balanced diet looks like, making sure that there's veggies on the plate, there's protein on the plate, there's carbohydrates and healthy fats that make up a nutritious, satisfying meal. So,
And I
yeah,
think if kids are a part of it too, and I know like if they're growing their own food, they're going to more likely to eat it. And so probably if they're helping with the cooking, they'll want to eat it
yeah,
and
my daughter.
to decide.
Yes. Yes. My daughter the other day, she's 6, and I was chopping up zucchini and she looked at it and she said, she was just watching. She was also stirring some raw tomatoes and oil, and she's looking at these zucchini. She said, can I try some? I said, absolutely. And she had a piece of zucchini and we talked about what its flavors were, what its textures were. And she's, it's sweet and crunchy. And I like it.
Oh,
It was
nice.
amazing. But then I cooked it and she wasn't a big fan because it was mushy. So it's there's a balance there, and it's also finding out like what your kids like and how you can incorporate those foods and make it a little bit more nutritious as well. Like I know kids love chicken fingers and fish fingers, and that's fine, but what happens if we served those chicken fingers with some salad and some roasted potatoes instead of French fries? Just a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that greasy stuff and that.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, we covered the movement, meal planning. So what other areas do you cover when you're,
Oh, a lot of it does come down to as well emotional eating, why we're eating. Um, and a lot of it doesn't come down to they're hungry. It's because another need isn't being met. So they're filling that need with food to give them comfort. And when we start diving into that and what's the root cause of this, and they can name it, and then they can satisfy that emotional craving some other way, then they're less likely to reach for, the processed snacks that are in the cupboard that they had for their kids or the handfuls of chips. And just really getting in touch with how we used to eat when we were little. And we knew when we were full, we knew what we needed. We could stop when we were stuffed. And we're like, no more, rather than continuing to eat so quickly that we're done by the end of the meal and we've overeaten again. And
describe a little bit more. You say mindful eating.
yes.
Oh, describe that.
So a lot of times when we're eating, number one, we're distracted. We'll be watching our phones or watching a movie or, doing work, sitting at our computers at lunchtime, not paying attention to actually what we're eating. And all of a sudden, if you're eating and you're working at the same time, all of a sudden your food is gone and you're like, whoa, I don't even remember eating it. Like I don't feel satisfied. I haven't tasted my food and it's just gone. So it's enjoying the food, tasting the food, noticing the texture of the food, slowing down when we eat. So putting down your fork and your knife between bites so that your brain actually has time to say, hey, stomach, oh, we're full. We're good. We can stop now. We're happy rather than eating as quickly as we can and not having time for our brain stomach connection to say we're full and the brain's like no we're not and you just keep eating and then you're overfilled and you've eaten more calories than you've wanted to and it's just kind of it's a vicious circle and then you feel guilty because you overate again and then you say well I may as well eat a box of cookies now because I've already overeaten.
Yeah, yeah. That somebody was saying something about the 2-day, 2-time rule. It's when you're trying to change your habit there, and that it's fine if you do it once, you miss a day, with your exercise, or you know, pig out on something or whatever it is. And it it doesn't, if you slip once, no big deal. Just watch that you don't slip the second time. And it just kind of, it gives you that grace that, oh yeah. And so it's not like, oh, I messed up. I might as well just keep going. It's kind of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's interesting too. And I'm like, if I talk to you, a mom that's happened to, and I say, so if your friend messed up, would you tell her just give up? It's not worth it. You've already screwed up. So what's the point? Just do whatever you need to do. It's like, well, no, you'd be supportive of them and say, hey, yeah, you overate, but that's okay. Keep going. Like You've got this. You're going to do great. Just tomorrow's another day. So why are we so hard on ourselves? Why can't we talk to ourselves like a friend?
Yeah, that's a good question there. Like, why, why do we do that? I do it.
Yeah, 100%. We are
But
our own worst enemies and we don't have, it's hard because I feel like we've not been taught how to have self-compassion,
yeah,
but we have to be easy on ourselves too, because being hard on ourselves is probably worse for our health than what we've just done.
yeah, yeah,
Just
that's,
putting more stress on ourselves isn't a good thing.
yeah. So how about addressing now, like you're with the busy mom, so when they feel like they don't have time to, make proper meals or how would you address that?
First, we like to look at their schedules and find out where their time is going. So a lot of the time, there is time in there, but it gets eaten by things that aren't priorities, but
Mm,
they sneak in there and they take our time. So if we don't make time for ourselves and making healthy meals and fitting in movement, then time will be taken from us. So scheduling it in, looking at the schedule and scheduling in when you're going to get your movement in, what you're going to make for dinner, when are you going to go grocery shopping, how are we going to do this? And then finding if they really are strapped for time, we've looked at their schedules and it's like, yep, you are just really busy. Then we find ways of making meal times easier. So batch cooking. I love batch cooking. So if you're making spaghetti sauce, triple the recipe. You can freeze it. You can bring it out later when you think you don't have time. You have kids' activities after school. You can put it in the fridge overnight and it'll defrost. You can cook it up the next night for dinner. So that works so well for sauces, lasagnas, stews, even pre-seasoning meat when you get it home for stir fries, taking quick or what is the word I'm looking for? Shortcuts. There we go. Shortcuts. So buying frozen vegetables are great. You can throw frozen beans into a pan with a little bit of oil and just saute them up. Pre-cut vegetables, so you can have baby carrots and snap peas on hand. So it's a quick grab and go snack. Throw that with some hummus and you can go out the door. Um, Cooking protein, I guess batch cooking again, protein with, if you're going to roast one chicken, roast two, and you can use the other one down the road for different meals. Um, as for exercise, it's finding ways to sneak it in instead of scheduling it in if it's really tight on time, like parking further away from grocery stores. And you've probably heard all of this before too, but it's actually just putting it into practice. It's parking further away from grocery stores, parking further away from work, walking to a bus stop that's farther away, doing some squats while you're brushing your teeth. There are ways to sneak in this movement, and every little bit counts. It doesn't have to be an hour long. It doesn't even have to be a half an hour long. If you get up 10 minutes early and you can sneak in a little 10-minute YouTube workout, amazing.
yay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something you said at the beginning there that it wasn't a priority.
Hmm.
Really having people look, what are your priorities? And maybe you need to shave off some time to make time for something that is a priority and shave off some other things that aren't.
Yeah. And I'll ask, like, what are your top priorities? And inevitably, family is
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
And then I ask them, well, what about you? You should be your top priority because if you aren't healthy and happy, you can't take care of your family. If you're sick or unwell or just drained, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're not taking care of yourself, everything else starts to crumble. Work will start to suffer, family starts to suffer, your mental health, go into decline. So if you're not taking care of yourself and making yourself the number one priority, then the other priorities that you care about will also suffer.
I love that. I love that. And being kind to yourself.
Yes,
Give yourself
yes.
grace. It's like,
Exactly. And I always tell them there's no failure. There's no failure. There's only feedback. Everything you do is just data. So if you've tried something and it didn't work for you, you've just learned something. You've learned something that you don't like, or it just doesn't work for your lifestyle. So try something new. Don't go back to the same thing that doesn't work. What could you change to make it more enjoyable, to make it easier, so you can stick with that change rather than kind of keep going back to what doesn't work and thinking you're failing, when really you're not. You've just found ways that don't work.
yeah, yeah. And so we've been talking a lot about with the parents and that. Do you work with the kids too, or?
I don't. I'm not a registered dietitian, so that's kind of outside of my scope of practice. I can guide parents on making healthy choices for their kids.
Yeah.
And if they're dietitian or register or nutritionist, in the States, you can say nutritionist, and it doesn't mean the same thing as it does in Canada. Nutritionist is also like a registered dietitian. But I can work alongside their medical team to help them and coach them into making changes that their healthcare provider has suggested.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of saying, oh, you have diabetes, watch your sugars. It's like, well, okay,
How
let,
can
let me help you and we can
that?
work together. Yeah.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah,
And coaching them along. And
exactly. Exactly. And they are the experts of themselves. I am here to guide them, to cheer them on and make suggestions here and there and just nudge them slowly towards making better choices.
yeah, yeah. And as you say, if your parents are happy and healthy, the kids will be too. So it's
Exactly. Exactly. And there's no better teacher than mom and dad.
so true. Well, I really appreciate this, Christine. You've given us lots of good tips, and I hope people listening pick up on some of those. And it's all about living that healthy, vibrant life. If you live it, model it for your kids so they too can have a healthy and vibrant lives.
Exactly.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you.